Given the most recent chapters here on One Piece, we are stuck wondering exactly what is Luffy's game plan against Kaido, and exactly where did he find this power all of a sudden. And I think, along with many times where I've said with Zoro, that hints of his evolution have been dropped throughout the story, and that is something that I think we need to stop and address, because it was shown earlier to us beforehand and no one really made a big fuss about it. But now that we're here in Roof Piece and we're getting to the climax of everything, I think this has really stuck out, and it's time that we address it for everybody. One thing that is known about Luffy for sure is that he will not let anything happen to his friends if he is able to stop it at all. No matter what it comes down to, Luffy will always advance his moveset, evolve in some form of way in order to overcome whatever obstacle is in his way. We've seen it majorly at Enies Lobby was the beginning of it, and that move, believe it or not, was actually to me foreshadowed from whenever they left from Skypiea, and I think that was the beginning of Gear 3. I think that actually came first, and Gear 2, the idea for it, came afterwards, after they got bodied over during the Water 7 time frame. But during that time, Luffy realized he wasn't strong enough and he had to up his game, and thus was born Gear 2. And as we know, Gear 2 worked perfectly for him during the beginning of post time skip, and things were moving great for him until we realized that he still was using it inefficiently, and there were better ways that he could get things done, as well as thus we got to post time skip Luffy, who was able to use Gear 2 a lot more safe, where he was able to use it in different portions of his body, and thus gave him better abilities and different things he was able to do on top of using. Why is this so important? Because Luffy did all these things to help his friends out, and I need you guys to do what you can to help me out by going down and hitting that like button real quick and subscribing to the channel if you are new here to this content. That would definitely mean a lot, especially since we are at the beginning of this journey once again. Now that we've been in post time skip, we didn't see really any far advancements until we got to Dressrosa on things that Luffy was able to do. We saw in Fishman Island that he was able to complete his Conqueror's Haki, so I guess that's actually the first. But if we're looking into when we saw evolution of what Luffy needed to do to surpass the strong opponents, we didn't really see it until Dressrosa, when we first were introduced to Bound Man. But with everything that Luffy has done that we've seen, everything comes with a cost, and Bound Man's cost, well, the whole Gear 4th cost was the fact that stamina. He would have to completely drain himself out, and he was no good for that form. And we as a community knew that moving forward was a good power up, but it wasn't anything substantial or sustainable, especially when going against Yonkos, because he was using Gear 4th uncontrollably against a warlord who was arguably most likely not even a commander to some other Yonko, and Luffy extreme diffed him there. But as we progressed, we seen him adapt his style and use Snake Man whenever he was fighting Katakuri, so that way he can overcome the Future Sight Haki that Katakuri was using, and that was thrown into Luffy's bag of tricks. But the stamina issue was still a problem during this fight, and it was something that he eventually knew that he was going to need to address and become better at. And we saw at the beginning of Wano, he upgrading his general armament haki to be able to use what we call Ryu currently, but in the way that Rayleigh was using it as a way to project his haki outwards, so that way he become further and work on his range attacks. This, I think, started the brainstorm of everything that he needed, because I believe it was at this moment Luffy made the first big brain play of his pirating career, that he needed to be able to control that flow of haki better, so that way he can optimize himself whenever fighting opponents. And I think the Gear 4th abilities were able to be upgraded at this point. So what I was talking about earlier in the video, what he did was whenever they met the samurai on the sea when all took down a ship, and we saw here that Luffy jumped into Bound Man to land an attack, and then he immediately came back out and was, but no one really talked about the fact that he jumped into Bound Man temporarily, landed an attack to cause devastating amount of damage, and then hopped back out. I feel like we were more excited as a community that all three of the headlining supernovas were there together attacking, and the fact that Luffy had his coat. I think all that hype kind of blinded us to the fact that Luffy jumped into Bound Man and jumped right back out. But then we come to the recent chapters where Luffy makes a grand appearance by sucker punching Kaido by jumping into Lake Man, temporarily hitting him with a Jet Calverin and then hopping right back out. And we've seen this again. I think this is a result of his Ryu training and understanding the flow of haki and potentially being able to jump in and out again, because we saw that if we line things up with Oda's way of having similarities and parallels with everything, with his Gear 2nd form, he had no choice but to use it throughout his whole body and just let it run rampant. And then his perfected state per se was he was able to use it in any form of his body, so that way he wasn't damaging himself while still being able to get maximum power. And I think we're seeing something like that with Gear 4th. Instead, this time he's able to control his transformations a little better, what I'm dubbing it as shifting gears. And I think this is going to be a way he's going to be able to fight Kaido. You've seen it with Kaido being able to switch between regular, hybrid, full Zoan, and then now we're seeing that same parallel where he's perfected his form, so that way he's able to transfer in and out, just so that way he can land the most effective attacks while not causing any more damage to himself. But that is the evolution of Luffy. If you guys enjoy this, there's going to be a card right there, so that way you guys can go ahead and check out some more One Piece theories that are here on the channel. But you guys have a wonderful day. Make sure to like and subscribe. I am out of here. See you guys.